Welcome to the Temporal Waves for June 2024. My name is Molly. I'm an astrologer bringing you the key dates for June, the key planetary alignments and lunations, as well as days of intensity and days of harmony based on the aspects. So, relevant information regardless of the zodiac that you follow. I also include information on the nakshatras so you can plan certain elections with certain days of harmony. So let's get into the planetary motion. So most of the planets are direct this month, except for Pluto, which will be retrograde for most of this year. And we have Saturn turning retrograde on June 29th at the very end of the month until November. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, going retrograde is a good time to introspect about your discipline, your work, your actions, the seeds karmically you may have sowed, and what you want to build, and laying some of the maybe ideas out for what longevitous plans that you want to create. And it can slow us down in terms of achieving certain accomplishments, but it also gives us that necessary time for revision and reconsidering some of these longer term goals and duties. Let's get into the key dates. So we have a new moon in tropical Gemini on June 6th, and it's a pretty harmonious new moon, I'm not going to lie. It's in the nakshatra Rohini, which is the exaltation of the moon in Vedic astrology. So it's a very glorious moon and a very sensual new moon because it will be conjoining with Venus. And we have this beautiful clustering of the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter in the beginning of the month, as I'm recording this right now on the first of the month. And it will continue really through the 4th, but on the 6th, we still have this Sun and Moon in conjunction with Venus. So, highlighting all of the sensual, beautiful things of life. And it can be a time that's really fertile, a really good time to deal with farming or land or purchases, any sort of vows too. It is said that anything done under Rohini is lasting because it is one of the most fertile nakshatras. So keep that in mind for June 6th. On the 21st of June, we've got the full moon in Capricorn. Well, this full moon does square Neptune, so the clarity might be a little impaired within this full moon. Normally, full moons can bring things to the surface, illuminate things, but the lines of fantasy and reality sometimes can get blurred, especially when there's a hard square of Neptune involved. And Mula is really about getting to the root of a matter. It's a destructive nakshatra, and it has a lot to do with ancestral healing and getting to the crux of something and eliminating that which is causing harm, essentially. So it is a destructive nakshatra, but in a positive way. And that is the sidereal nakshatra that this full moon is falling in. If you follow the tropical zodiac, it's a full moon in Capricorn. We have two very prominent Kazimis this month. We have a Venus Kazimi on the 4th of the month. What is Kazimi? So the term Kazimi actually comes from Arabic, translating to in the heart of the sun. It represents the alignment of a particular planet, in these cases, Venus and Mercury, coming into an exact conjunction, being Kazimi'd by the sun. And so there's an influx of new energy. There's a energizing quality to that planet. And those matters kind of might take more precedence. So in the case of a Venus Kazimi, beauty, pleasure, enjoyment, and the richness of relationship, really, and our values will be more apparent, right? It's an illumination, you could say, of these energies. And the last time we had Venus Caziming in this particular part of the zodiac was in June 2016, 8 years ago. And we had Hillary Clinton getting a lot of votes. She didn't quite become elected president, but it's interesting because now with this modern 2024 Venus Cazimi, there's a female elected president in Mexico. So we can kind of see echoes in astrology when we look back to when similar movements took place. We have Mercury Cazimi on the 14th of the month. And so what will shine forth is the mercurial matters. And you could say maybe that would be a particularly good day for commerce or doing mercurial things that involve communication and transportation, because those are the realm of Mercury. And let's get into the days of intensity. Okay, my days of intensity. These are, you could say, maybe less auspicious days. They can be days that the cosmic energies are more stressful, particularly movements of the moon, because the moon is the sole cosmic body that changes the most dramatically day to day. And on the 3rd of June, we have a Moon Mars conjunction and a Moon Mars square to Pluto. So this can be a high adrenaline energy and also a one of frustration with the square to Pluto. On June 9th, we've got the Moon opposing Pluto and the Moon squaring Mars. So similar stressful aspects going on with Moon Mars and Moon Pluto. On June 17th, we've got the moon opposing Mars, and the moon's also squaring Pluto. And on June 23rd, we've got the moon conjunct Pluto squaring Uranus. And we have on the 30th, the moon with Mars squaring, and the moon square to Pluto. So these are days, if you work with the public, if you deal with the collective, if you have higher stress or more prominent important matters to deal with, that there might be more frustrations potentially, or more emotional upheaval, you could say. Just giving you a snapshot of what I consider to be the days of intensity for the month. And it's good to keep in mind, obviously we live our lives, we do what we're going to do, but if we have important meetings or diplomatic things or matters to take care of, we might want to choose some of the following days that I have. So these are the days of harmony. On June 2nd, we have the moon sextiling the sun, Venus, and Jupiter, which are all conjoined. What a beautiful energy. So the nakshatra that the moon is in on the 2nd is, let's see, let me check my notes here. Sorry for the delay. I have so many astrology notes here, and I thought I had this up. Okay. We have, let's see. On the 2nd, the moon is in Ashwini. This is the star of transport. This is the head of a horse, and it is one of the most proficient healing energies of all the nakshatras. So that being said, this would be a beautiful day for any sort of healing activity or procedure. Of course, again, consult your own intuition, medical professionals, etc. I'm not a doctor. But it's a great day to start a new project or venture, especially those related to healing, transportation, or travel. On the 6th, we've got this beautiful exalted new moon, conjunct Venus, sextiling Mars, and the moon is in Rohini, as I had mentioned, which is the most auspicious star for weddings and ceremonies and anything that signifies a big change. We can do creative and procreative ventures with great uh, success under Rohini. It's good for um, anything that you want to really like be settled in and permanent. So vows for that reason are considered very auspicious under Rohini. Planting, agriculture, sowing seeds, literal seeds in your garden. On the 15th, we've got the moon trining the sun, Venus, and Jupiter all conjoined. And this is in Hasta Nakshatra, which is all about crafts, handiwork, anything that requires dexterity, and things like jewelry making, magic, even sleight of hand, and any business matters that require tact. On June 22nd, we've got this beautiful moon trining Mars and Uranus, and Venus trining Saturn. And so this is in Purva Ashada Nakshatra, which is an auspicious nakshatra for settling debts, performances, anything that's creative and pioneering, overcoming and confronting enemies or adversaries. So again, that kind of falls under settling debts, like putting things to a peaceful resolution. And this also goes for inspiring people. It's really inspiration or adventure is kind of what Purvashada is known for. So that'd be a good day to plan something fun. On the 24th, we've got the moon trining Jupiter, Sun, and Venus. And we also have that Venus trine to Saturn. The latter half of June, to me, is more harmonious, just generally speaking. But on the 24th, the moon is in Shatabisha, Nakshatra, which is very favorable for media and technology. It's also very good for any sort of therapy or healing because it is the healers are kind of like the symbol of this particular nakshatra. Also helpful for land and business dealings, any sort of learning, etc. Then we have on the 26th and 27th moon trining Venus, Sun conjunct Venus, and Mars sextile Venus. This is a beautiful nakshatra Prabhadrapada, which is all about the hidden things, the mystical on the 26th of the month. And so it's also a very good one for selling property. Oops, my head's in the way, but there's a little for sale sign where you can't see it. So the 26th would be a good day if you have to close a sale as well. There's one detail that I forgot to mention in the beginning of my forecast here. In addition to the Kazimis, there's some other really important thing with Jupiter. Jupiter emerges out of the sun's beams on the early part of the month. It had conjoined with the sun last month. So we have had a lot in the past month of these planets being activated by the sun. And so Jupiter is what's going into phases, which is Greek for appearance. And so Jupiter will be rising as a morning star before the sun. So if you like to stargaze or, yeah, just view the planets in the actual night sky, which most astrology enthusiasts, I really encourage you to do so. You will see Jupiter rising as a morning star, and it's seen as a symbolic resurrection of the planet. And Jupiter is Guru, the revelation of wisdom and truth. It's in the constellation of the Pleiades. And Jupiter being a god of abundance and fertility and also storms. Um, and the Pleiades having a lot to do with this idea of, if we go into the mythology of the Pleiades, they were weeping. These girls were victims and they were kind of put into the sky through this process of metamorphosis, and they still weep there. And so rains and floods and storms and evacuations, or kind of themes of being rescued or redeemed, um, may come about in the beginning part of June with this kind of symbolism of Jupiter emerging from the sun's beams. There's also, you could say, maybe a greater access to higher knowledge, spiritual wisdom, if we are tuned into that frequency. So that is in the beginning of the month, and Jupiter will also trine Pluto on the 2nd tomorrow. So this is another kind of important planetary movement going on in June. This is my general forecast for June. If you guys want more personalized transit reports, I do offer that in readings. So in addition to understanding your natal map, your soul's curriculum, your soul's blueprint, I can help you understand the transits that are impacting you the most right now. So while this gives a piece of the collective translation of cosmic energies, we all have our own personal journeys with transits that is way more relevant, right, to the themes that we might be experiencing individually. So if you're curious about a personalized reading, you can book below in the links in my bio. If you have any questions, insights, comments about the forecast for June, let me know. I hope you found this useful, and I'm wishing you a beautiful June. Have a wonderful night.